Oh, man. Oh, shoot. Oh, yeah. Oh, we're so back, baby. Game of the year. Game of the year, baby. Let's. All jokes aside, Spider-Man 2 is an incredible sequel, well worth the 5-year wait. The story is incredible, it's full of spectacular heroes and villains, and the gameplay is as fun as ever. Spider-Man 2 blew me away. Hi guys, my name's Jackson. I've gotten the opportunity to play Spider-Man 2 for about 25 to 30 hours, 100% completion. So we're going over all things in Spider-Man 2. So if you haven't played it yet or you care about spoilers, go ahead, click off. Bye-bye. See ya. Don't worry about it. Come back after you've played. But if you don't care about spoilers or have already completed the game, let's go swing into this bad boy. The events of Spider-Man 2 pick up after the first game and Miles Morales, about a 10-month time gap. The game opens with Peter starting his new job teaching physics at Brooklyn Heights, which is Miles' school, when Sandman all of a sudden starts attacking NYC. I mean, dude's huge, giant, massive. And this results in Peter and Miles having to ditch class and go fight Sandman in one of the best opening sequences to games I've ever gotten the chance to play. I mean, this thing was freaking sick. After defeating Sandman, the Spider-Men learn about someone hunting Sandman, and Peter is fired from Brooklyn Heights. Obviously, I mean, you can't leave kids unattended in a crisis. I mean, that gets you instantly on the chopping block. You can't do that.
You've been chopped.
While breaking the news of his lost job to MJ, Peter hears a surprise visitor at the door, which turns out to be Harry Osborn, back from treatment, seemingly healed from his illness. Peter and Harry go on a bike ride down memory lane, and Harry asks if Peter would like to partner with him at the Emily May Foundation. After taking a tour around the foundation and seeing the work that they're doing, Peter agrees to heal the world with Harry. Soon after, Peter and Miles get a call to help assist in a prison transfer, including the Scorpion and Mr. Negative, which gets Miles kind of riled up. That's the dude that killed his dad, if you don't remember. Kraven and his hunters, though, finally show up to NYC and attack the transport, successfully capturing and taking both villains. And while fighting Mr. Negative in the midst of all this chaos, Miles discovers new powers tied to Martin Lee's. Peter, MJ, and Harry head to Coney Island for a little kickback fun time. You know, a little stroll down memory lane, what they used to do as kids. When the hunters attack Coney Island to capture Tombstone, where we learn during a roller coaster collapse that Harry's cure was actually a black gooey suit that gives him superpowers. It's the symbiote, but they don't know that at that point. After many attacks and investigating Kraven and his hunters, the spiders learn that Kraven is capturing and killing villains. He's already killed Vulture, Shocker, and Electro, and we get to see on screen Kraven absolutely body. It's during this time that Peter also learns of Dr. Connor's capture by Kraven. MJ finds Dr. Connor's location, and Peter, MJ, and Agent Venom Harry fight to free Connors and prevent his transformation into the Lizard, but fail in their attempt, and Peter is fatally wounded in the fight with Kraven. However, the symbiote leaves Harry and bonds with Peter, saving his life and finally giving Peter the symbiote suit.
Let's go, baby!
Dude, I'm telling you, once you get the symbiote suit, this game goes from like 10 out of 10 to 15 out of 10. Now without the symbiote suit, Harry is slowly getting sick again, and the only person that can get the symbiote off of Peter and back onto Harry is Dr. Connors. So Peter begins tracking down the Lizard and slowly becomes more and more corrupted by the symbiote. Peter and Harry make an antidote for Connors, and Peter goes and finds the Lizard, defeats him, and cures Connors. After transforming back into himself, Connors informs Peter that the symbiote suit is a sentient alien and tells Peter to destroy it. But Peter refuses, corrupted by the suit. Meanwhile, Miles is captured by Kraven and forced to fight Martin Lee to the death to survive. Miles, however, outsmarts Kraven's trap and manages to help Martin Lee escape to go find Peter for help. Peter then arrives on the scene to fight Kraven and free Miles. And it is there that it is revealed that Kraven is suffering from cancer, and instead of dying in a hospital bed, he wants the strongest thing to kill him. He wants death to deserve him. He believes that with the symbiote suit, Spider-Man is that person and tries to get Peter to kill him throughout the fight, which Peter almost does if it hadn't been for Miles jumping in and saving Kraven. We then get a spider battle, Miles v. Peter, where Miles eventually helps Peter shake the symbiote off and free himself from its corruption. Peter then heads to Oscorp to destroy the symbiote for once and for all, where he runs into Harry, who breaks the symbiote free and bonds with it once again, transforming into Venom. We then get one of the coolest sequences where Venom breaks out of Oscorp and heads to Times Square, where Kraven tracks him down and they face off for a final fight, Kraven's last hunt. Venom grants Kraven the death that he always wanted and bites his head off to end the hunter. Venom then crashes into Peter's house, where we learn that he has teamed up with Harry to heal the world by making the whole Earth and all humans on it symbiotes, and even turns MJ into a symbiote. Peter is able to help MJ free herself from this symbiote, and he and Miles run off in an attempt to save civilians from a symbiote attack when a part of the symbiote still in Peter neutralizes him. Martin Lee shows up on the scene, and Miles and Martin team up to free Peter from the symbiote by going inside of his mind and killing the symbiote. After killing the symbiote, Peter is transformed into Anti-Venom. While all of this is going down, Venom obtains the meteorite that crashed down to Earth with him, which is what he needs to finally achieve his goal of healing the world. In a final effort to stop Venom, Peter goes one-on-one with Venom while Miles and MJ steal the meteorite and hope to destroy it in the particle accelerator at EMF. Our heroes barely succeed and defeat Venom, and Harry is left in a coma right after the fight. We then see Norman blaming the Spider-Man for Harry's condition and begins working on a G serum. I wonder what that is. We also see Peter deciding to take a little break from Spider-Man and focus on restarting the Emily May Foundation. And Miles takes over as the one and only friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and it will stay that way until Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 2's story is incredible. It takes two notable villains, Venom and Kraven, and gives them unique and interesting stories that we haven't seen before. Obviously, both of these storylines are loosely based off the comics, with stuff like Kraven's Last Hunt kind of being implemented here. I really like the change of Harry being Venom. I think it works well here, and it also sets up the Green Goblin well. The new backstory works well for Venom. However, it does feel a lot of the time that Venom is more like Carnage than Venom, but I'll give it a pass because I don't know how they're going to do Carnage in the Insomniac games. I know they're going to try to do him. They've teased him in this game, but I don't really know if that's just going to be DLC, if that's going to be full out in Spider-Man 3. I don't think they'll go too much into it just based off what happens in this game. I don't know what they're doing with Carnage, but Venom feels like Carnage sometimes in this game. And in terms of the actual symbiote, the actual Venom symbiote, I wish they would have made it more of a character. I think that's one thing the Venom movies does very well, is making the symbiote a character with character traits and lots of dialogue. I don't feel like we get a ton of that here in the game. The symbiote feels a lot more of a device and a temptation than it does an actual character. And I wish they did a better job with that, maybe giving it more of a backstory. Kraven is incredible in this game. I wasn't sure how they were going to use him in this game. I think they did it the best way possible. The reason for his hunting, looking for something that can take him down, something that deserves to kill him because he doesn't want to go out on a hospital bed. He doesn't want to go out weak. He wants to go out strong, I think is a super intriguing and interesting motivation. And it kind of makes you feel for the guy. And I think they do a good job establishing him as a major threat. As we saw in the last game, Peter faced off with the Sinister Six. In this game, a ton of the Sinister Six has been killed by Kraven. And we even see one on screen with Scorpion dying. And I think they do a good job establishing Kraven as a threat by killing off villains, but I do wish we saw more of them on screen. Like maybe seeing Peter fail to save a couple of them, or as the game progresses, just having a couple cutscenes throughout of Kraven killing Shocker, of him killing the Vulture. Like, I almost wonder if the game should have started off that way. Not necessarily interfering with the whole Sandman thing, but maybe starting off like almost like Infinity War when we saw Thanos kill Loki right at the beginning. You know, maybe something like that. But the villains in this game are incredible. Definitely one of the very many highlights in the game. Now on to the Spider-Man. I think they did a great job doing the duo in this game. In regards to Peter, I think one of the highlights with him was his relationship with Harry. It truly felt like a bromance and really led to you caring for Harry when he got sick, when he turned into Venom, when Peter heard that he's going to have to kill Harry to stop Venom. And then that kind of struggle he's going through, kind of dealing with that. I think that was done very well. It makes the Venom arc and Harry's transformation even more heartbreaking. You feel for Peter. And I think Peter's time with the symbiote was for the most part done well. Again, I wish we heard more of the symbiote speaking to him. We do closer to the fight with Kraven, but I wish even at the beginning we were starting to see more and more influence. I think the change in Peter's attitude happens way too late and doesn't have enough impact on people like Miles and MJ for long enough. But once he does change, I think they do that very well. It's just not as gradual as I think it should have been. They do the end result when Peter's corrupted really well. Like his fight with the lizard saying, "No wonder your family left you." I mean, that, first of all, way too far, Peter. And second of all, that's a great job showing how Peter's changed. And even subtle things like throwing someone to the side that he saved instead of just setting them down gently. I mean, even little things like that, I think Insomniac gets right. But I wish that change was a little bit more gradual. Except for the suit at the very end of the game, I think they do a great job with Miles.
What is that thing?
He's so ugly!
I love his struggle with trying to balance Spider-Man and being a student and trying to go to college, his family relationships, his mom having a new boyfriend, like all this stuff, I think was done very well. I think what Spider-Man 2 also does really well is set up the sequel, set up the third game, and it sets up a very interesting third installment. The Green Goblin tease was great. I think we all knew that that's where it was going for a third installment. I don't think you can go a whole Spider-Man trilogy without putting Green Goblin in it. And I'm glad it's going to be Norman and not Harry. I think that's a good decision. There's also more villains that were teased, such as Carnage and the Chameleon. Whether or not those characters will be DLC or just in the third game, I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if there will be DLC. But even adding villains like that is super exciting, and I'm super interested to see what they do with that, what direction they go with those characters. Something I am interested in, but I'm not so sure about, is introducing Silk. I just don't know. I would have preferred Spider-Gwen or some other spider character to show up. Maybe Scarlet Spider or Iron Spider. So Silk's an interesting choice. Not one that I'm completely against, but I just don't really know what direction this is going to go in. So yeah, the third game, extremely interesting. And I hope we don't have to wait another 5 years, but if that's the time Insomniac needs to get that game right, I'm all for waiting. In terms of gameplay, I'm not going to speak much about it just because I'm not a game professional. This game is really fun to play. I mean, just swinging around as Spider-Man, that just doesn't get old. I will say combat can sometimes get stale. I did like the introduction of parrying to the game, but I often found myself forgetting that that was in the game and just found myself dodging anyway. Personally, I felt side quests in the game were a lot better, just in terms of story, not necessarily gameplay. Quests like The Flame, Unidentified Targets, Howard, Rip Howard, and Hunter Blinds were really fun to uncover what it was leading towards, and were done really well story-wise. I wasn't a huge fan of the gameplay part of Unidentified Targets, but the reveal at the end of the Chameleon was worth it. But other quests like Cultural Museum, Mysteriums, the Prowler quests, and Spider-Bots were kind of a letdown. I will say Spider-Verse references at the end of the Spider-Bots mission was great, but I kind of wish it was Miguel or someone from the movies. I think that would have done a better job tying it in, at least to those who don't really know about the Bar with No Name. Look, Spider-Man 2 is an incredible game and is well worth the wait. The gameplay is really fun. The story is executed incredibly well, full of likable characters and interesting storylines. And the game points to an incredible third installment in Insomniac's Spider-Man trilogy. But that's about it for me. Let me know down in the comment section below what you guys thought about Spider-Man 2. Game of the year? Let me know. As always, I appreciate y'all stopping by. I love you guys. And until next time, peace out, bro skillets.